What's up? Ronin man. I'm here in Brooklyn. Early morning, very, very peaceful feeling. I feel very, very grateful, I got to tell you, for being in Brooklyn and for feeling safe and being able to be here long enough that I can feel Brooklyn. You know, I've never lived in New York. For me, it's a wonderful opportunity. And huge thanks to Chime Time for the Chime Time suite. He set me up. I cannot tell you how grateful I am. And it's been very, very valuable time for me. When I got here, I didn't really realize it. Now that experience has passed, things have passed, it's been very important for me. And I want to talk today about a related topic, which is striking when the iron's hot. But before I start talking about the topic itself, I'm going to say why I talk about these topics, okay? As you might understand, listening to Ronin Man, I don't like to repeat what other people said. And the reason why is there's nothing there. It's not from me. I don't understand why people do it. And I want to say why it's so difficult to learn new things and why so much information is so not useful for you. The reason is why it's not useful is because most information, like whether it's a quote, like strike when the iron's hot, it's not from that person. It's not, they are passing on information. For me, I consider this fraudulent, okay? Straight up. If someone is teaching you something in a book, in a video, by verbally, and they're saying something like strike when the iron's hot, but they don't really know, it's not a concept that is living within them, that's fraudulent. Because they're just saying words, and there's nothing there. There's no tree. It's like a fake tree. There's no roots, like a plastic Christmas tree. You got to look, where are the roots? Where is the information coming from? Is water there? Are nutrients there? Is life there? To any concept. If you want to learn things, you need to find somebody who the roots are down in the ground on this concept. There is experience. There is future growth. It's a living thing, okay? That is the spirit with which I teach. I only look for things that I have. There's that knowledge, that experience is deep, and the reason why is because that's why I can describe the things I talk about from many perspectives, and give both historical perspectives in my life and past, and then real life things like regret, and things like that. I can get into it because I'm actually teaching a real concept, and I just really fucking hate when people don't do this. So let me talk about strike when the iron's hot. Okay, I already said that a lot of information is fraudulent. Fuck, I hate that. Especially with a concept like this. God, this is an important concept. Okay, and take the shot when you have it, right? Things like that. Okay, let me give you some examples. So last year, okay, I was in a strange position. I was never able to meet my daughter. And that's terrible. But there's also positives in everything. I realized that as terrible as that was, and this is the lemons from lemonade idea, is I had one positive thing. There was nothing I could do. Okay, so I had a window of opportunity to do something because I was not able to do what I was wanted to do, or you know what I mean, was destined to do, right? So it's kind of like if you're not allowed, you're trying to go to a business meeting, but your car breaks down, you can't get there. What do? It's not disrespectful. Now you can't get there. So what are you going to do with your time, right? That was kind of the situation I was in. And I'm like, so I'm sitting in Bangkok. I saw that, that I had an opportunity, and there was this pause and moment where my mind's like, because one part of my mind was like focused on the fact that I wasn't able to meet my daughter, and I was like very sad. But I thought, okay, wait a second. You now have a situation where you have a limited time opportunity to do something totally new or to make a move that you wouldn't usually have. And I'm like, okay, what can I do in this limited opportunity? And I thought, all of a sudden, I just thought, Japan. I got it, because as a lot of people know, I speak fluent Japanese. I spent 16 years in Japan. I have a very deep knowledge of Japan, understanding of Japan. And what that means to me is that when I go there, it's almost like, when you look at a yearbook or you look at, something from the past, and it brings back all these memories and friendships, and then you might reach out to those people, and then they might have business opportunities. It opens the door to a whole new set of things that you didn't really think about. So it could be a high school yearbook to you. It could be maybe a group of friends in a certain city, or it could be a company you used to work at, or someone, a technology or something. For me, it was a country in this case. It was Japan. I'm like, wait a second, because I had left Japan and I was like not fully integrating my true self, which is a lot. I have a deep knowledge of Japan. I have a deep network of friends there. I have taste, smells, sounds, sights, experiences, old girlfriends. I have business ideas. I have business friends. There's so much there, and I'm like, but somehow we don't see. See, the thing is, in your life, a lot of times you don't see where you have these gems. It's like it sounds so crazy explaining it to you, but my brain was I couldn't see it at the time. And all of a sudden I thought, Japan, I got to go to Japan. I got to figure out a way to go to Japan, period. And so I said, I'm going to do a Ronin summit in Japan. Boom. And I announced it. Well, before I announced it, now here's the other thing. Strike when the iron hot. To strike, when people tell you these ideas, they fucking lie to you, because they make it look like you have a hammer in your hand and the iron's right in front of you and you just strike it. It's so simple. It's not that simple. No, let me give you an example why people don't strike. Why this is bullshit. Why you're being lied to. Okay, so I'm sitting there in Bangkok. I've kind of realized, Japan, I'd like to go there. What's in front of me? Do I have an iron? No. It's like there's a million roadblocks. First thing I thought, well, fuck. It's going to be too expensive. Because it used to be very expensive to fly from Japan to Thailand. I mean, not very, but it was like usually $700. It was a minimum $700 before. And I told my friend Adam, I said, hey, I would love to do a summit in Japan. That would be fucking great. It'd be great for me. I could show Japan to people, and I thought, this is it. Strike when the iron's hot. This is the opportunity. And then my friend Adam, he's like, I think there's like super cheap flights now. And I'm like, nah, because my brain is like, I'm old. I have experience. You know what I mean? Like there's like pride comes up. And I'm like, I know these things. I've flown a million times, Bangkok to Tokyo. I used to do it all the time, especially in the wintertime when it's hot, when it's cold and it's warm in Bangkok. When people, for Christmas and stuff, people like to fly to Bangkok. But it's usually, that time is very expensive. Like it might be $1,500 for a flight back in the day from Tokyo. So I'm like, my brain's like not taking this information in. And my friend Adam's like, no, really, it's cheap now. And I'm like, really? So I look, he said, there's like a cheap airline I heard. So I look online. Sure enough, there's a thing called Scoot Airlines. And they had like a flight for under $200 round trip, $200. And I'm like, no fucking way. By the way, I'm looking out the window and some guy just tried to steal a car. Holy shit. That is crazy. That is totally crazy. Wow, that is really interesting. Holy shit. Okay. Real life here. That is funny. As soon as people started looking at him, he like walked away, slinked away. Wow. Okay. Don't get the idea this place is dangerous. Fucking awesome here. Having a great time. This is just some fucking loser. Anyway, so strike when the iron's hot. So the roadblocks in my mind were, I can't. Too expensive. No, what am I going to do? And then the other roadblock was my mind started saying, Japan's changed. It was better before. These stupid, right? And I'm like, of course Japan has changed a lot. And in some ways it's not as good, right? It's true. But Japan's got a shit ton to offer. And I love Japan. Like, what am I, And so I got over everything. I bought the Scoot Airlines ticket, $200. I announced it on Ronin, man. Sure enough, people started calling, emailing, signing up. And I'm like, no way, it's going to work out. Then I contact my friend And then she's like, yeah, totally stay at my house. Come over here. Call my other friend. He's like, fuck. He's like, I got a cabin. I'm going up there. Like, come stay, man. Let's go let's have fun. And I'm like, no way. And so, see, what happened was, the reason why it's important is for you to understand the concept I'm talking about is, first, striking the iron hot is not obvious. 2, there's going to be a lot of roadblocks in your mind. And 3, once you start to go down the road of something that you're destined to do, you're supposed to do, essentially, you're supposed to strike. That's the thing. It's your duty. It's more than just strike when the iron's hot because it's good. It's your fucking duty. You're denying your own duty. You're ignoring, your own fucking duty. Don't do that to yourself, okay? To yourself, okay? Only you, right, are in this game, right? So I'm like, all of a sudden, when I opened up the door, all of a sudden, the energy, I could feel it. When you're doing the right thing, whether it's a business or whatever it is, you're gonna start to, as you get past those original barriers, you're gonna start to feel this almost like gravity pulling you. And it's like the opposite of when you're doing something you shouldn't do. And that is when no matter what you do, everything doesn't work out every single time. And I take these things seriously in my life because some things you will just feel all of a sudden, like as soon as I announced it, then I saw the airplane tickets. That was the order. And then all of a sudden, and then my friends, and then I knew, oh my God, it's another one of those things. I'm striking when the iron's hot. And I could feel this being a very important thing for me, going to Japan. It wasn't just a trip for me. No, this was important. It was a reawakening of my experience. It was a rekindling of my friendships. It was a almost like, when sometimes you hear a song and it brings back all these memories, these good memories. It was like that too. And it was like, also I realized I've changed a lot. I have a lot of experiences since I left Japan. I've had many different kinds of businesses since then. And I look at Japan differently. So I do see business opportunities in Japan that I didn't see before. I would have been too locked into my thinking at the time. Now I have much more of an international perspective when I go to Japan. And I see things and I can do them easier. I don't feel, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing holding me back. See a new idea? Boom. Japan's changed, new opportunity, boom, I can grab it, right? Before it wasn't as easy. We all get locked into our own thinking. Anyway, so strike when the iron's hot. Now, I struck, by announcing it. Then the world came to push me. The gravity started to pull me. All of a sudden, I was going to Japan, whether I liked it or not. People were like, I'll be there. And now I feel myself pulling. Right now, I'm walking forward towards the window. I can feel myself being pulled. All of a sudden, it's not even me doing it. I'm just like being sucked in. Like the world's bringing me this direction. That's what the feeling is, man. That's the feeling. It's like you're not just striking when the iron's hot. You're overcoming, and then you're getting into some kind of a wormhole that's pulling you from one universe millions of miles away in a second, easily. See? Because when you strike when the iron's hot, what that means is you're taking advantage of an opportunity in the moment that is going to allow you to do something that would be incredibly difficult to do usually. If the iron's not hot, can you imagine how many times you have to fucking hit that thing and how many hammers you got to go through to get that thing to bend? It's an incredible amount of wasted energy, right? But when the iron's hot, it's like, bam, one strike. It goes just where you want it. And that's important, right? So it's not just doing something. It's striking when the iron is hot, when it's ready. And the iron is not hot when you think it's hot, when you want it to be hot. The iron is the world. And that's about you being prepared and being aware of the world and looking at the world. And I mean your world from your perspective, right? You see your world, and then you will start to see the iron's hot, and then you will feel fear, and then you will feel doubt, and then you will have challenges, and then you will overcome those things, and then all of a sudden you will start to feel that sucking feeling, with that gravity feeling where it's pulling you in, and then you know you have struck even before it was over, even before I went there. I knew it was the right thing to do. Like I was absolutely solid. As sure as I know the sun is going to come up in the morning, I knew that kind of feeling, right? Like the sun comes up in the morning, right? That feeling I had. I'm like, I made the right decision. There was no question. Anybody could tell me at that point, you made the wrong decision going to Japan. It didn't fucking matter. I'm like, I know now. Okay. Like I know this is absolutely what I should be doing. My soul should be going to Japan right now. I need to go. And I went, and it was great. And I got to say, that was probably my favorite summit of all. It was absolutely fantastic. That was like, it was just amazing. And anybody who was there, you guys know what I'm fucking talking about. This was not your usual. There was some kind of magic that happened. And I look for that magic. It's almost like a live show. You do a live show, and usually it sucks, right? But sometimes there's fucking magic there. I've been to a lot of live shows. And I was in one in New Orleans once, and it was just like, I was with my friend Demi and Julian, and it was just special that night, man. I got to tell you, it was on fucking fire that night. It was insane. We danced till 3 a.m, and the place just was crazy, and the emotion was great. And I have great experiences of New Orleans. And even when I go back to New Orleans, it kind of depresses me when people say, oh, I went out and had fun, or this part of town. I'm like, man, when you've been to like a music festival, it was just like fucking on fire. And that was the time to be there. That was the moment. Anybody can sell tickets to anything, anytime. Any venue is just sitting there empty and cold, and people can be there. But that's not the same as the moment. That's it. That's where you got to be there right fucking then. That's what I'm talking about. Okay? I'm not talking about, the iron's hot, you can bend it and you can make a fucking bar. No. This is the things that will change your life. The trajectory of your emotion in your life, and your opportunities, and your vision, and also, I tell you this, the reason why this concept is so fucking important is because you, in your fucking heart, man or woman listening to this right now, that I'm passing on the real responsibility you have to yourself. This is not about anybody else. It's about you knowing what it is you need to do and grabbing those opportunities. And if you don't do it, the feeling of regret, no one else will have it. You're the only one who will know. And you'll know you missed. You missed. You didn't strike. You didn't shoot. You didn't go. You didn't jump in. You felt the opportunity, but you didn't take advantage of it. You don't do that to yourself. It's like these things come. And that's the thing. See, the iron is hot part is really tough to know. Because part of me, hey, a lot of people will say, start a business, work hard, blah, blah, blah. Hey, I do that. Okay. But at the same time, I'm always knowing the difference between the thing I talked about before, which is when you're striking when the iron isn't hot and you're just pounding your head against a wall. And then that kind of feeling where you're finding that vortex where you feel yourself pulled into it. It's like the opportunity is perfect for you, right? This happened one time when I joined the internet company in Shanghai. I was showing an office to somebody, and then the guy was super pissed off, and I'm like, what's going on? How come, and he goes, we just got too much to do. We got tons of budget. We're building a huge team. We got this going on, that going on. And I had a business. I was at a real estate company. I'm like there to rent them the office. And he's like, I need this done. I need a director of sales. I need someone who speaks Chinese. I'm like, I speak Chinese. He's like, you can do it? And I'm like, yeah, I told him what I did. He's like, there's your desk. And I worked there for 4 months. It was fucking great. I hired hundreds of Chinese. I interviewed them. I motivated them. I translated. It gave me huge confidence because I was able to use my Chinese language skills. This is another different thing. I speak Japanese and Chinese. You guys are new on the podcast. And all of a sudden, I never kind of realized how good my Chinese was. Now my Chinese, by the way, is getting worse because I haven't spoke regularly for a few years now. But at the time, it was very good. And I was like, but I didn't really realize. A lot of times, see, the thing is you don't really realize the skills you have because you think they're so normal, whatever you do. But it's not normal. See, that's the thing. So a lot of times we can't see the opportunity, the iron, because we don't see ourselves. I didn't really see myself as somebody with a gift, with a skill. at the right time, because China was the right time then. Now you can't even, like, China's like the worst, terrible idea to go to China now. They're very, very unwelcoming to foreigners. But the iron was hot then. And also, I needed an understanding of the internet that I didn't have. I had websites. I've had websites since 1999. I think my first one that I had, and so I did have an understanding of SEO and the internet, but I didn't understand, like, I don't know if you know about internet advertising or copywriting or media buying. There's like a lot of different things to know. Traffic. There's a lot to know about. This was a big Silicon Valley startup, and it was a very successful one. And they were going to China pre-IPO, and they needed a lot done. And I saw like an opportunity to see the internet, to see internet business, to see all of almost like cyberspace. That's the way I looked at it at the time. Like, I saw a way to see cyberspace, not from an individual, but more from a satellite perspective, right? Where I could see more. I could understand more about the internet and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I had this deep need, okay, to understand the world. I still do. And at that time, I needed to go from a website owner, who was making money off the internet, but I needed to understand more about the internet. I needed a deeper wisdom. And I'm like, oh, fuck. The desk is here. I did it. I sat down. I started working for them. And I worked for them as an independent contractor, as a sales manager, and it was fucking great. I learned stuff that I could never learn on my own. So the iron was hot. The opportunity was there. The wormhole was there. And I jumped into it. And it was absolutely transformational, because I made a great network of friends through that. I met one of my friends here, Harry, that I met through there, but I met a lot of good people through that. And those people are now doing pretty cool things. Like, a lot of those guys I was working with, now they're running big internet companies. And they're like good buddies of mine. And they know me. They know that I'm a stand-up guy. They know my skills. They know the way it is to work with me under stress. And there's definitely opportunities for me now. I'm going to meet one of them when I'm in Vegas. And really looking forward to seeing where that leads. Anyway, whether it leads anywhere or not, I got into the wormhole, okay? So in your life, okay, you need to understand all the concepts I just talked about. Not one concept. This one has no ABCs to it. But I will tell you this. This is the difference, okay? This is pretty big claim between a successful life and a life of regret, okay? That's all I'm going to say. This is not a small concept. You need to understand this concept. And when you miss those opportunities, that's okay too. You're not going to get all of them. Like I said, it's like an alarm system that's always on. There's opportunities all over the place. Okay, so it's not like, oh, I missed an opportunity, I'm a loser. No, there's going to be more. If you master this, you will become a wormhole finding machine in your life. And you can't make these happen. You have to find them. You have to be ready for them. You have to take advantage of them. You have to overcome your fears and doubts. You have to overcome the barriers. You have to get into the vortex. And you got to be ready. Okay, here's the hard part. Before they even happen. See, you as a person need to be ready. So the skills that you're building now, the not watching television, the not wasting time, the not getting into angry discussions, the overcoming any kind of like personal problems that you have. If you're drinking too much, if you have a problem like, just kind of like you don't see the world in a broad way and you get too locked in it, you need to overcome all that stuff. If you're smoking, stop smoking. Like, you need to overcome a lot of shit so that you can be that guy that when he sees the opportunity, he's still there. Because the thing is, I'm 55, right? But I'm still in the fucking game, man. Like, my body's like a young guy. And I'm still in the game, and people know that. And that's why opportunities still come to me. See, so it's not just about all the other stuff I had. It's your physical body. Your physical body has to be ready. And right now, in the bubble, in the, whatever you call it, the lockdown kind of thing going on in the world, a lot of people are letting that go. That is fucking fundamental. Your physical body And there's a lot here, okay? And this is why you should listen to a lot of videos, is because overcoming your personal problems, overcoming your weaknesses, your Achilles heel, okay? We all have them. Overcoming those things. This is the clay. Okay, this is the clay for the pottery. The clay has to be good clay. You can have the best potter in the world, the nicest, what's it called? Not churn. There's a word for that oven. My friend makes pottery in Japan. I can't think of it right now. Anyway, oven, basically, large oven for pottery. You can have the best oven. You can have the best. But if your clay is no good, okay, if the clay is like not high quality, or it's got rocks in it, or it's not right for pottery, then you can't make good pottery. See, so it goes back to those basics: sleeping at night, overcoming your weaknesses. Just like, instead of things being hard, they don't have to be. Because the good thing is, see, here's the thing. Here's why you can change more than anybody else. It's because once you start to see the global perspective, see, you're not fighting against stopping smoking here. It's like most people, when they fight smoking, it's like this big demon. Not for me. Okay, I chewed tobacco for many years. And when I finally gave it up was when I was sitting there and I was thinking about my daughter. And I was thinking, like, because it's pretty disgusting. It is pretty disgusting chewing tobacco. I started chewing tobacco in junior high school because I thought it was cool. And then for many years, I chewed tobacco. And it would kind of on and off. No one ever knew, by the way. That's what's funny about me. I had it hidden in my mouth. I wasn't like some guy spitting on the ground. You never knew I was chewing. I would have sex with girls, kissing them all the time. And they would say, we'd talk about chewing tobacco. And they'd say, that's disgusting. And they'd say, I would never kiss you. I'd say, you kiss me all the time when I'm chewing tobacco. They're like, what? Because they like literally didn't know. Like they didn't even notice, So that was my personal difficult thing. Like tobacco was my demon, right? It really was. And I remember one day I was sitting there and I imagined in my mind, okay, see, the global perspective allows you to handle the clay better, okay? I'm going to end on this. So I'm sitting there and I was chewing tobacco and it was difficult. And I was in Bangkok and I remember, like, I thought to myself, okay, I thought, kids are so funny. They just come up to you and they just say things like super honest, right? I love the way kids think, and they just come up to you and they just say, that lady's fat, or they'll say, he does this, or he farted, or something, right? And I could imagine, at that moment, I imagined my daughter coming up to me and saying, Daddy, why do you chew tobacco? And then I was going to say, I thought, oh, because it's difficult to quit. And I imagine her saying to me, it's difficult for me to study. And I thought, oh, God, what kind of example am I making? I thought, that's it. Threw it down. Never again. Never fucking again. Because I realized I could see myself from the outside. And I thought, you know what? I don't even want to deal with this one. And the funny thing about it was, every time I quit chewing tobacco over the years, it was difficult. This time was the easiest of all. Because I was like, I had a real motivation. See, so striking when the iron's hot, having your body and your mind and your soul and your skill set ready. So the clay is good, right? The iron is good. I know that's not a perfect analogy because you're both the iron and striking iron, but you know what I'm saying, right? You have to have the building blocks so that you can do these things I'm talking about. And if you're crippled and you're obese and you're smoking and wheezing and you have cancer, you can't do these things, okay? Those things are the things that take you out. Because unfortunately, we all die at some point. So you want to die as less as possible. Don't let it go easy. Don't let it take you easy, right? You're like, I will die. I accept that, okay? I'm going to talk about death in an upcoming episode. But I know that. But it's going to happen as far away as possible. And I'm not going to be one of these fucking zombies walking around dead inside right fucking now. And that is what most people are doing. And that is the real reason why you want to strike when the iron's hot. Thank you for listening.